This is Nara Smith, the most recognizable face of the tradwife internet. And whatever you think she is, we'll get to that.
I'm 19 years old, married, no degree, no 9 to 5, and I'm exactly where I want to be.
I am 19 years old. I got married a week after I turned 18. I had my baby on my 19th birthday.
I got married at 19, I had a baby at 19, and then I got a divorce 1 year later, so let's talk about it.
And he said, you need to start using your own card now. What card? I don't have a card. That is my card.
So that's who we're talking about today. Nara and the wave of much younger women who are living some version of what she started. That last clip, the one about the card, we're coming back to that. That's where this ends. Is Nara Smith a tradwife? Honestly, I don't think that's the interesting question anymore. Here's the one I actually want to answer. She's built something, and I want to show you what that actually looks like from the inside. Then what happens when that same aesthetic gets handed to a 19-year-old with none of the infrastructure that makes it work for her? And by the end, the actual math, what this lifestyle costs, who can actually afford it, and what is the cost of people who can't? A few weeks ago, Nara went on Call Her Daddy podcast and said flat out, she's not a tradwife.
A tradwife is a woman who embraces or promotes a traditional model of marriage and family life where she typically prioritizes being a homemaker and a primary caregiver for kids, takes primary responsibility for cooking, cleaning, and managing the household, often values traditional gender roles within marriage. So with that definition and those points, I'm none of that.
And the internet did what the internet does, with basically any correction to an established narrative. It split hard, and both sides get louder instead of more precise. One commenter called it straight-up cosplay. Another said she was pivoting to save face. But buried in there, one comment actually said the quiet part and said it better than most takes I've seen so far. Someone wrote that Nara clearly benefited from being seen as a tradwife because that's what made her successful, but that she's actually a smart businesswoman, not dependent on her husband at all. And they hope the teenagers watching would understand that difference before trying to copy the wrong half of it. Now that's interesting. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to see exactly how. And here's the thing. I actually think both sides of the bigger discourse have a point, which is usually the sign you're watching two people argue about two different definitions of the same word. The she's not camp is talking about her actual daily life. Who does the dishes, who travels for work, who's the primary earner. The she obviously is camp is talking about the aesthetic, the outfits, the voice, the vibe of the whole thing. One's an argument about her marriage and the other one's is an argument about her brand. And that one commenter already found the actual gap between them. So let's actually look at both. Starting with the one nobody's really looked at yet. Why now? So here's the actual thing I want to talk about. Not is Nara a tradwife? She built something, a business, on purpose or not, and what's happening underneath isn't just admiration. A lot of these women aren't just watching her content. They're literally starting their own accounts trying to do the same thing. The dresses, the voice.
Went to Paris a few weeks ago. I was so excited to have some French onions.
The from scratch everything. And that's worth pausing on. Because having a following and having a business are not the same thing. Nara has both. Most of the people copying her only have the first one. And they're finding out in real time that the second one doesn't just show up because you did the aesthetic correctly. But before we get to them, it's worth acknowledging this specific fantasy right now is pulling in so many people because the tradwife aesthetic isn't just nostalgia for its own sake. Think about the actual conditions a lot of these women are living in. Gen Z watching rent eat half of their paycheck, watching the news cycle be one long low hum of everything is expensive and nothing is stable. Watching every headline mention recession, whether or not it's technically accurate. Somewhere inside all of that, what if someone else just handled the money, stopped sounding like giving something up, and starts sounding like a relief? It's the same impulse behind any escapist trends, really. Cottagecore, The whole Regency core wave a few years back, people fantasizing about simpler eras, precisely when their own era feels unmanageable. The dress, the sourdough starter aren't really the point. They are the costume for much more understandable feeling. I would like someone else to hold this for a while.
Don't have a job. I don't want a job. Stop trying to give me a job. My husband doesn't want me working and making my own money. Why would he? That's like the least sexy and feminine thing that I could do. Working and making money is literally a man's job. Why would he want me to do that?
That's not a political position for most of these girls. It's closer to a coping mechanism that happens to come with a really specific outfit. Let me show you the part that I think nobody's actually sitting with, because everyone's too busy arguing about the marriage to look at the business.
Everything kind of went insanely viral when I was pregnant with my third baby, Whimsy. And I didn't really see it as a business. I was like, oh, great. I'm earning money all of a sudden. I can do this, but I never thought about it as anything bigger. But then obviously the more I did it and the more deals came in and the more conversations I kind of had with my agents at the time, the more I kind of realized, oh, I could actually do this as a job and have the flexibility of being at home with my kids and kind of figuring that part out.
Nobody wakes at 22 and decides to build the tradwife empire. Content first, then it goes viral for reasons she didn't fully plan. Then the deals start coming in, and somewhere around the third or fourth check, there's a conversation with her agents where the math becomes undeniable. It's the exact same arc as basically any founder who stumbles into a product people really want.
And then obviously now it's evolved into this full scale business that I'm still executing myself, which is crazy. Like I pick the outfits, I pick the recipe, I film it myself on a tripod, I edit it myself. And then when the kids go to sleep, I do the voiceover, get it up the next day. So it's basically a woman show.
Before they figured out what to call the company, she signed with a talent agency that reps actual entrepreneurs. She's got a cookbook coming through, a major publisher, and she has filed trademarks. So you know now how everyone's always asking in every comment section under every one of these videos, but how much is she actually making off of this? The reported estimates put it at around $6 million. Just sit with that number for a second. That's not tip money from a viral cooking hobby. That's the number you get when brand deals, a cookbook, advance, and a handful of trademark business categories all land in the same account over a couple of years. Now, sit with that for a minute.
This one situation with someone on my team where we were trying to work with this person and the person was like, I don't care what you say, what you do, what you show me, what Forbes articles you show me of her business. Like, she is a tradwife to me and I don't want to work with her.
Somebody on her team was in an actual negotiation with Forbes, own reporting on her business, sitting right in front of the other side, and the guy said no. Anyway, because that label mattered more to him than the paperwork. Which actually makes me wonder about something Nara's pushed back on the tradwife label more than once now, across more than one interview, months apart.
People love projecting things onto me, and because I cook for my husband, I'm in the kitchen and trapped and I'm just at home and he's the breadwinner. They use me as this poster child of this like very traditional wife. With that definition and those points, I'm none of that.
And I don't think it's crazy to wonder whether some of that isn't really about accuracy at all. Whether somewhere in there, a business owner is looking at a label that just cost her a deal.
She is a tradwife to me and I don't want to work with her.
And thinking, this is bad for revenue. I genuinely don't know. Maybe it's both. I'll let you sit with that one. And she's not the only name attached to this exact tension. A while back, Nara spent a day with Hannah Nealman, also known as Ballerina Farm, milking cows, homemade brunch, the whole crossover the internet lost its mind over. And one thing a viewer pointed out in the comments has stuck with me since. Neither of them is actually a tradwife. They're both influencers who happen to be extremely good at looking like one, which means the same open questions applies to both of them. Is it the denial about the truth? Are they really tradwives? Or is it the risk of the label? I'm not going to answer that for you. I just think it's worth noticing that it's not just a Nara-specific question. It's a genre-wide one. So, That's the top of the pyramid. A real business, real money, real infrastructure. Now, let's go find out what it looks like at the bottom, where most of the people actually are.
I'm 19 years old, married, no degree, no 9 to 5, and I'm exactly where I want to be. Me and my husband dated for 6 weeks before getting engaged. Also, yes, me and my husband do have an age gap. He is 10 years older than me.
Ava is 19, got engaged after 6 weeks. 10 years age gap with her husband. Not our topic of discussion today, but still worth pointing out. No job, no degree, and by her own account, this is the dream.
Really? That's the dream.
Yeah, it's the most noble, nay, broable thing a bro can do for a fellow bro. So yes, Ted, that's the dream.
Noble, beautiful, very committed to the bit. She's not doing this for the money.
I have never and will never take a dollar from any brand. I didn't start this page to make money. I just started it to share my life and to inspire other young women out there who do what I do.
She wants you to know she's doing it because it's who she is.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Or whatever you want. Yup, that's right. I'm gonna cook a special dinner for the winner of this gorgeous Chanel bag. I'll be drawing the winner in front of a live audience this Sunday, August 16th. Go to ahavaeva.com, buy my sourdough starter recipe, and you'll be entered automatically for free. She can be yours.
Same account, same face.
5 things that cost more than my sourdough starter recipe. 1 DoorDash order. Full tank of gas. Going to Target for 1 thing. Literally this lipstick. And buying this bag retail.
And now she's running a giveaway where the way you enter automatically for free, her words, is by paying $50 for a sourdough starter recipe. Attach a low-cost digital product to a high-value luxury prize, let the prize do the advertising, watch people buy something they were never actually shopping for because what they really want is a shot at the bag. That's a real funnel. I mean, this is marketing 101. Did she get it herself? Did someone explain it to her? That's not our problem. The point is, she is trying to make a business out of this. Look at what she's actually doing. She found an audience, she found leverage, and she's using it to grow something. That's not so different from what Nara did. She's just doing it in her own lane at her own scale. And worth saying clearly without a fraction of the business infrastructure Nara has around her. Wanting to grow something you built is just a human impulse. It doesn't disappear because your public position is,
I didn't start this page to make money.
It just goes looking for a socially acceptable door to walk through. A giveaway, a recipe, something that doesn't read as a brand deal even when it functions like one. Come on. Having a following isn't the same thing as having a business, and Ava is in the middle of finding that out in real time, on camera, one giveaway at a time.
Our generation is infantilizing adults. I am 19 years old. I got married a week after I turned 18. I had my baby on my 19th birthday.
Leah is the same story from a different angle. 19, married, a week after she turned 18. And her pitch isn't, I'm giving something up. It's the opposite. It's, I grew up faster than you did. Different girl, same instinct as Ava. Turn the aesthetic into an identity you get to feel superior in, whether or not there's a business underneath it yet.
What are your plans after high school?
Stay-at-home mom.
So are you going to go to college?
I don't know that I have the brain to go to college.
I think you do.
This is a completely different girl. Different city, probably never seen any of Ava's or Leah's videos. Same scripts, word for word. She's not even graduated high school.
So you just want to be a stay-at-home wife?
Yeah.
Okay, how does that work? How do you spend your time?
Shopping.
Okay, this is a fun plan.
And listen to how fast the plan falls apart the second someone asks one follow-up question.
Now, where do you find a guy who's like, yeah, that's fine. Just stay home, shop till you drop. I'll be out here working.
Good question.
It sounds like you want to just marry rich. Is that a fair assessment?
I mean, money doesn't buy happiness, so you have to make sure you're happy.
So would you marry someone who's broke and still accomplish your dream of being a stay-at-home wife who just shops?
I think that contradicts itself.
I would agree. And then you go door to door, a dating app. What's the game plan to find this guy?
I don't know. Maybe I do need to go to college.
From stay-at-home wife to actually, maybe I need to go to college. Maybe I need a backup plan. in about 90 seconds on camera in a hallway. That's someone encountering the actual math for the first time live because nobody had put it in front of her before that hallway. That's the full circle right there. Nara has the business, Ava is improvising one. This girl doesn't even have the improvisation yet, just the aesthetic and a plan that falls apart under one question.
Because I really do believe that every woman should have the opportunity to. It's the man's job to provide, the husband's job to get their stuff together. And also it's your husband's job to pick up one, pick up two, pick up 3 jobs if he needs to. He's the provider, that's his role. Like, you can be a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home wife, and pick up side hustles.
Sophie wants every woman watching to know that a single income can absolutely cover this lifestyle. That we can survive on one income is more excuse than reality. Well, that it comes down to budgeting and discipline. Yeah, if only that were true.
I do social media, I do a farm stand, I sell things here and there.
Same video, casually, almost as an aside, she lists 3 separate income streams she personally runs. The math she's describing only works because she's not actually the one testing it. The household isn't single income. It's single income shaped on camera with the second income quietly running in the background. You cannot call this a single income household, to be fair. I don't think any of them are lying though. I think they believe what they're saying in the moment they're saying it. The same way Nara probably believed it was never about the money right up until the deal started paying her rent. What's actually happening is more interesting than a lie. The aesthetic requires income to sustain itself at every single level of this pyramid. And on some level, the people selling it know that, even while the caption underneath says the opposite. And by the way, if you want the version of this same story from the creator economy side, the people going back to 9 to 5 because the aesthetic of making it stopped covering rent, stick around because I'm going to be publishing another video soon to talk about this exact topic. Subscribe so you don't miss it.
I got married at 19, I had a baby at 19, and then I got a divorce 1 year later, so let's talk about it.
This is Jada, married at 18, had a baby at 19, divorced about a year later. And unlike almost everyone else in this video, she's not selling the aesthetic, or at least anymore. She's telling you how she's actually got there, and it's not the story you'd expect.
When I graduated high school, I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. I was kind of just following the route of everybody else around me, which was to go to college. I started applying and I did get accepted into the College of Business at FAU, and I was so excited. I filled out all the applications. I found an amazing little roommate.
She got in. She had a roommate lined up. She was a month out of actually starting college.
And it was around that time when it was like a month away from school starting and I needed to have all of my ducks in a row that I found out my parents were not going to help me. I knew at the time that the relationship I was in was not a good one. Because the college thing didn't work out and I had no idea what I was going to do with my life, I put all of my energy and effort into that. It was kind of like, well, if the college route isn't going to work out for me, then this is my next best thing.
That's not, I chose marriage over college. Her parents earned just enough on paper to get disqualified from aid, and hadn't saved up enough for her to cover the gap themselves. It's a hole in the financial aid system that a lot of middle-income families fall straight through. And nobody plans their daughter's future around a paperwork technicality. Next best thing, not a calling, not an aesthetic, she'd been dreaming about since she was 12. A backup plan for a 19-year-old who suddenly had no plan A.
You can be in love with a man, you can get married to a man, you can give your entire life to a man. But when you do that, especially so young, you have to be aware that it could go sideways. My biggest advice to young women would be go get your education, find out who you are, travel, do things that help you grow as a person.
She's not telling other girls not to do this. She's telling them to have something of their own first. A degree, a skill, a bank account with their name actually on it. So that if it goes sideways, next best thing doesn't become the only thing left. And that's really the quiet part of this whole model. It only works if every single piece holds. The income has to hold. The marriage has to hold. Both people have to be committed for decades. No backup plan for either of them. There's no guarantee baked into any of that. There's almost never is with any of these life choices. But this specific one asks one person to hand over all their leverage on the bet that it will. You're just betting on your life to have the best odds ever. And unfortunately, this isn't always the case. Even the best case version of this story is still just a best case scenario. It's not a plan, it's a bet with someone else holding your half of the chips. This is the version of the pipeline nobody puts in a thumbnail. Not ideology, not brainwashing, just financial aid gap. And a 19-year-old filling it with the nearest available plan. So let's actually do the thing that we said we'd do at the top. What does this lifestyle cost? In real numbers, for a normal household trying to live it. In 2020, a household needed roughly $66,000 a year to afford the payment on a median-priced home in the US. Today, that number is over $120,000. That's not 5 years of normal inflation. That's the income bar for a completely average one-income household, nearly doubling in half a decade. WTF? So when someone in the comments says,
"Well, my grandma did it on one income,"
they're not wrong about the past. They're just describing an economy that is extinct nowadays. And here's where it actually gets uncomfortable. More than half of the US household currently earn under $80,000 a year, total combined. Everyone working. Which means over half the country is already priced out of the version of this lifestyle being sold to them. And that's before you even subtract a second income. And to be honest, you don't need to have any financial knowledge for this specific math to make sense. The math is not mathing. This is the part that never makes it into the caption of these tradwives, because it's not the fun thing to film. The aesthetic tells you, you don't need much, just budget smart, cut the lattes, meal plan. The actual numbers tell us a completely different story. You need to already be sitting in a fairly small slice of household income for this lifestyle to work, without a second unspoken income quietly holding the whole thing up. Let's be for real. This does not exist nowadays in this economy. Discipline doesn't fix a starting number that was never big enough to begin with. And for the household is where the math does work. For now, there's still the question of what happens if it stops. You are either already rich or you are really making money that you're not disclosing. But one income and you're living this amazing tradwife life and butterflies and life in the prairie, I don't think this is real. Let's go back to where we started.
I have no income. I have no money. I use my husband's credit card and I use my husband's money.
2 weeks before she filmed this, her husband told her he wanted a divorce.
I use an American Express credit card for everything. It's got my name on it, but obviously he pays the bill. He told me he's gonna cut it off and I gotta move all the automatic payment and stop using it. And he said, you need to start using your own card now. What card? I don't have a card. That is my card.
Nobody necessarily did anything wrong in this story. And that's what actually makes it worse than a story about a bad husband. It's a structural problem that was sitting there the entire marriage, quietly doing nothing until the one day it mattered. 10 years out of the labor force, no independent credit history, no resume gap that reads well to a recruiter. And all of it was invisible. Right up until that one conversation in a car made it the only thing that mattered. That's the part the aesthetic never shows you. Nobody's hiding it maliciously, at least if we assume good intent. It's just not the footage anyone chooses to film. Nobody posts the day they find out their name was never actually on anything. And this house of the prairie lifestyle isn't the dream. And when reality hits, it's really sad. So, is Nara Smith a tradwife? Generally, still don't care. Here's what I actually think happened. She built a real business out of an aesthetic at a moment when that aesthetic was going viral for reasons that had nothing to do with her. She's the OG because she got there first. And she built an exit. Brand deals, a cookbook, a company, trademarks, a door out if she ever needs one. Most of the women copying the aesthetic underneath her didn't get the business. They got the vibe. And a vibe doesn't have a credit history. I'm Sally. In this channel, we follow the money behind everyday life and have a nice conversation in the meantime. If you made it this far, subscribe.
Hey girly pop, oh my god, so good to see you. I have huge news. I have quit my job. I am full-time homesteading now. Not having a bank account, it's so empowering. My hubby makes all the financial decisions now. This week, instead of buying laundry detergent for the household, he had me just pray to cleanse the water. He used the money we saved on Zins. He is so clever.